All right. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets. I am running a few minutes late, but I am here to bring you guys this week's Fit Body Short. And today, I honestly just think this is one of those topics that is like so hard for me because I hear it so often on my clarity calls is I lost weight and I slowly started regaining the weight or I've lost weight and I don't know how to eat now that I've lost the weight and I'm stressed out. And it's kind of like two big overarching problems is one is the person lost weight and now they're regaining it, or two, they lost the weight and they can't live their life because they're so stuck on this diet plan that they don't know how to graduate from being in a fat loss phase into being into a place where they can actually just enjoy the fruits of their labor. Like they just worked really hard and they want to be able to enjoy themselves. Here's the deal: is like this is the shittiest part of this is like it's actually worse to like lose weight and then regain it than it is to actually never see results. Because when you've actually lost the weight, you've got to experience the way it feels to have people like, man, you look awesome. And like, what have you been doing? And you get all these comments. It sucks when you now have to go see those same people 6 months later, like, oh, she put the weight back on, or he put the weight back on. Not exactly ideal. And so today I'm going to give you guys a few things to think about in your journey if you are trying to lose weight right now, or if you've lost weight and you are in one of those situations to help you guys be more successful. So, a few things right off the bat is number one, okay, you need a reverse diet. You need to spend time after you've lost the weight learning how to slowly eat more. And this is not just that, oh, I'm just going to have a couple of cheat days a week. This is where people go wrong. They tend to do that. And then what happens is slowly those cheat meals, they're not recognizing how many calories they're consuming. And slowly the weight is creeping back up, especially because metabolically, when you lose weight, your metabolic rate drops. And we want to work on bringing that back up. And what happens though is they get so hard on themselves. They're like, oh, I beat myself up because I just had a cheat night and then I'm going to get back on track and then they cut calories again on Monday. And it kind of keeps them in this metabolically adapted state and their body is just sucking up those calories and not utilizing them. It's actually storing them because it is trying to get back to what you're used to. It's trying to get back to your body weight set point. So you need a reverse diet. This should be somewhat calculated. In fact, people should be spending just as much focus in the reverse phase as they are in the fat loss phase, which I will always remind you guys should not consume your life. It should be a part of your life. Okay. So that's number one. We want to have that reverse diet built in. Number two, we want to be able to have a shift from what I like to call intentional eating into intuitive eating. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to be stuck in a food tracking app for the rest of your life, you want to be able to go out and enjoy food with your friends, you have to learn how by eating intentionally, you can start to make better choices intuitively. Your body will start to crave those nutrients and you will start searching for those foods on those restaurant menus. However, in the intentional eating portion of things, that means you also have to be very mindful of what your food preferences are, what kinds of flavors you like, and where your pitfalls are. So when you're intentionally eating, you are looking at nutrient contents of foods. You are taking a look at, like how many calories are in a serving of French fries. Oh, wow. Okay. I probably shouldn't have those very often. If I do want to have them, that's about how many I should have. You want to make sure you're incorporating foods in this phase that you are going to want to eat beyond your fat loss phase. Also looking at what the makeup of your meals should look like. How much protein, in a serving size do you need to get in order to hit your protein at the end of the day? You should be getting very mindful of those things in the intentional portion of things. And that's where people go wrong is they're only looking at numbers. They're not associating, okay, this is what it looks like to have a portion of, this is what a 4-ounce portion of protein looks like on my food scale. And this is how much it tells me is in it in the app. You should be learning those things and making it easier for yourself, just like a recipe. After you've made a recipe so many times, you probably start to learn about how much of everything you need in it. So you want to be intentional and then shift into intuitive eating. And my method for this is usually a little bit of, I call it like taking off the training wheels. I'll have a client spend a couple of days where they've been intentionally tracking their food for a long time. And today I'll say, hey, I want you to track your food, but I don't want you to look at the numbers. I actually just want to see where it falls at the end of the day. And let's see how far off from things you go. I like to add those strategies in to help see how mindful a person is being of their food when they're not tracking. So shifting into intentional eating is number two. And then the next part of this is understanding self-monitoring. Self-monitoring isn't this like obsession with the scale, obsession with your body, obsession with food. It's literally just making sure that you're keeping tabs on things as you go. Weighing in yourself, if not daily, at least getting a couple of weigh-ins throughout the week, because we all know, if you don't know this, that one weigh in a week is not very accurate. So try to keep yourself in check. And I always say like a 5 pound mark is like a good place for people to stay within a range of. Let's just say your goal weight was 145. You should probably be staying somewhere between like 142 and 147. 142 might be your lowest, and then 147 or 148 might be your highest. You see, if things are creeping up, you should probably pull things back in, along with looking at self-monitoring in terms of nutrition. Every once in a while, maybe you are pulling out your food tracking app and taking a look at how far off things are going. In fact, if you see the scales going back up, maybe you are tracking your food again for about, a couple of weeks to see where things might have kind of fallen off, getting yourself back on track. And if you were fully through that reverse diet, you should have an idea of where your calories should be. Self-monitoring isn't just about the result, though. It's also about how you're feeling. How are you feeling in the gym? How are you feeling in your day? How is your biofeedback in terms of like cravings and hunger and digestion? All of those things. How is your sleep quality? How is all that? If you start to notice changes there as well, that could also be a sign that, hey, maybe nutrition's not going so well. Maybe you should pull back out the food tracking app. Maybe you should see things. It's always good to or it's always easy to focus on the body, how we look. It's not always easy to focus on the body, how we feel. And the body, how we feel often is going to relate to those things. Also checking in on like, has your gym routine changed? Have you noticed that you're not as motivated? You're not going as often? Those things are all going to cause changes to happen beyond the weight loss. If you all of a sudden, if you are working out 6 days a week, and then, slowly after your reverse diet and after all this time is settled in, you're now down to 3, yeah, you're going to have some adaptations that happen to that. And you are going to start to regain weight if you are eating the same amount of calories. So you want to make sure that you're adjusting for those changes in your lifestyle, which is where part 4 and the last part of this is understanding lifestyle integration. And it's why I often will preach to everybody is what you're doing to lose weight, you want to be able to maintain it throughout beyond weight loss. And maybe you do kick up, your movement and your workouts and all that stuff in your fat loss phase, but you should also know what it looks like, what maintenance looks like to you. And the final month of coaching with my clients, I always go through this stuff. We want to make sure that we know, hey, going forward, what does your life look like? How many days a week are you going to be working out? Do you want to be a food tracker? Do you want to graduate from food tracking? Some of my clients, I would recommend that they do still track food if they have some level of, for a period of time, I want to say that some people might need that extra structure to keep them from going too far off the deep end. The goal is eventually to move away from it, but they might need a little bit longer while they don't have a coach to kind of check in with to ensure that they have some form of accountability. So knowing what lifestyle looks like beyond that. Nothing should change with your food and your training. It should be maintenance mode. And that's so important. So quick topic today to talk to you guys a little bit about keeping yourself on track beyond the fat loss, because nobody wants to lose weight only to regain weight. So number 1, understand the purpose of reverse dieting and not being afraid to eat more food. Number 2 is shifting from intentional eating into intuitive eating. Number 3 is self-monitoring, understanding what to be watching for beyond your fat loss phase, and then understanding lifestyle integration and knowing how to move into maintenance while still maintaining your results. So hope this episode was helpful for you all. If it was, please shoot me a message, shoot me a DM. We'd love to hear from you all, and I will talk to you all on the next episode.